You're listening to This Week in No Code plus AI, with weekly episodes sharing the latest advancements of AI, plus exclusive interviews with founders using these tools. So without any further ado, let's get started. Welcome to This Week in No Code plus AI. I'm your host, JJ Englert, and I have another action-packed show for you this week. We'll be sitting down with Raphael, the CEO and co-founder of WeWeb, who's seen incredible growth since launching their new Build with AI feature last month. We're eager to dive into their 5x increase across most metrics and explore the features that they now have available with WeWeb. But first, let's catch up on the latest developments shaking up the AI and no-code world this week. The big story this week is all about MCP, the Multimodal Capabilities Protocol. This groundbreaking new standard is revolutionizing how AI systems connect with external tools and APIs. MCP creates a universal language for AI models to request capabilities from third-party services, whether that's searching the web, processing payments, or manipulating data. What makes this particularly exciting is how it's democratizing AI tool creation. Developers can now build plugins and extensions that work across multiple AI platforms instead of being locked into one ecosystem. We're already seeing a surge of new tools hitting the market using this protocol, with everything from advanced data visualization capabilities to specialized industry tools now being accessible through your favorite AI assistants. So it's really big stuff and reminds me a lot of the tools that I built for my agents in NAN. Now these kind of tools are accessible via mass market LLMs. In the no-code space, a recent study showed that businesses using AI-enhanced no-code tools are launching products up to 70% faster than those using traditional development methods, while maintaining higher quality outcomes as well. Nothing new here, right? We've been pitching no-code and AI tools for a long time, but this shows the kind of transformation we've been predicting on this show, and it's great to see stats and studies like this show real impact using these tools. And now, speaking of my AI Agents course, it's live at nocodealliance.org. What started as a 3-hour curriculum has expanded to 8 comprehensive hours of content. The NAN module alone is 4 hours as I deep dive into building AI agents for various professional use cases. I also build AI agents with Lindy.ai, Zapier, and a couple other platforms. I've also secured over $200 in free software credits from 4 out of the 5 platforms that I teach in the course. And as a special bonus, I've included exclusive interviews with CEOs and team members from those platforms, giving you behind-the-scenes insights into those tools that I am teaching you in the course. So whether you're just getting started with AI agents or looking to build sophisticated solutions for your enterprise needs, this course has you covered. Go to nocodealliance.org, check it out. It will give you a fantastic understanding of AI agents and where to go to next if you want to proceed with them. Now, let's bring on Raphael from WeWeb to hear about their explosive growth. Raphael, welcome to the show.
Good to be back again.
It is wonderful having you. You're one of the lucky founders that we've been able to get on 2 times. Lucky for us. I don't know if it's lucky for you, but lucky for us that
I
we're
feel
able to
lucky.
get you in. Good. Thank you. I appreciate it. How old are you guys now?
7 years.
7 years. Beautiful. And the premise of WeWeb is a front-end platform at an enterprise grade, highly performant, that you can connect to any backend.
Yes, exactly. So I like to say it's a no-code front-end builder,
Mhm.
and it's really made to be able to build interfaces on top of any backend. And the output of it is clean standard code that you can export and deploy on your own premise if you want, or deploy in one click on premise that we manage for our users. And so then you get like production grade type of applications out of it.
Which also enables the ability for larger orgs to self-host if they need to bring WeWeb into any kind of enterprise org.
And that's how we got like very large companies using us, like BNP, which is the largest European bank, or PwC that everyone knows. And yeah, for them, like the key requirement is that they own the code and they own the production side of things. And that's why WeWeb is a good platform for them.
One of the reasons why I love building with WeWeb is the level of pixel customization that you can do. It's very much similar to that of like high-end no-code builders where you can build the entire experience pixel by pixel, but in a visual first interface, which I think really helps WeWeb stand out while also still getting access to that code. And
Yes.
just a month ago, you released the ability for now that code to be generated with AI, which gives you huge capabilities within the platform. Can you tell us a little bit about that update?
Sure. For us, it's a pivotal moment because we feel like the mission of no code has always been to enable anyone to build for the web. And so I think AI is just going to accelerate this. And so we're seeing a lot of AI only web app building platform that have been released recently and that had tremendous success. And it's been great because like when you are a non-coder, you can just sign up, put a prompt and something outstanding comes out of it. The only problem is that it generates code only. And so if you don't know how to code, it's hard for anyone to really get from prototype to production grade level and feeling in control and feeling that they can trust the platform itself, because since they cannot read the code itself,
Yep.
it's hard for them. And that's where we felt like there is totally a bridge to be built here, where we should bring like capabilities, but that outputs something that then can be manipulated by non-coders in a drag and drop editor, in a visual editor. And so that's our new mission now. It's the same mission, but this kind of AI add-on,
Capability.
but it's so strong that for us, we said it's WeWeb 3.0 now. We were at WeWeb 2.0, and we said it's really a new version. I would say occupation right now, we are really focused on it because we feel like it's adding so much power to our users that it makes sense for us to focus on it. And one of the biggest problems also of no-code platforms, just like code itself, is the learning curve.
Mhm.
And with AI, that learning curve is flattening. Because if you know how to prompt, which is probably easier to learn than how to code itself, or even how to use a no-code platform without AI, then you can get much further, much faster, right? And so that's why it's our number one occupation today. And it's also a technical challenge, because when the AI generates code only, it's easy between brackets because those LLMs have been trained to generate code and they do it very well. But when the AI has to generate code that then has to be translated into a no-code platform, then suddenly you have obstacles from a technical standpoint. But these are, for us, super interesting from a technical perspective to work on it, because we feel like we are really innovating. And so we take the code that's generated by the LLMs and we then transform it so that non-coders can then manipulate it in the visual editor. So when you generate UI only with WeWeb, it works super well most of the time. We have more challenges with logic because logic has a lot of JavaScript and it's a bit more difficult to manipulate, but we are doing a lot of progress. So I think we will be able to be on par with those other code only AI building platforms in terms of AI capabilities. But then everything will be in a platform where non-coders can feel at home. And so that's the objective.
Yeah, I think you're in a unique spot, given your infrastructure and how you've built it to offer the best of both worlds. Where we have some AI code builders where it's text to prompt, and you get that output dealing with a lot of code.
Yeah,
And to manage or change those little things, you again have to prompt it. With WeWeb, you're able to prompt one prompt to create an app, but then also prompt to create components,
correct.
prompt to create parts within a page. And then
Yes,
once those components are created, you can then turn to the visual editor and really fine tune it there. I
exactly.
believe is the best of both worlds. And
Yeah.
hopefully where this all leads to is that. So I was
Yes.
really excited to see WeWeb implement this. And I've been lucky enough to be one of the demo users. So thank you for
Yes.
letting me
And
test
thank
it
you so
out.
much for participating.
It was a blast, really. 7 years ago when you got started, you couldn't have foreseen what was
For
happening
sure.
today,
No, no
but the
way.
decisions you made then about your infrastructure are paying dividends today,
Yes.
because there's other no-code platforms that aren't as lucky where they're really locked in. They have huge, abstraction, and so using this AI is much harder. And then
Yeah.
also code continues to be very powerful today, given how quick you could generate it and how quick machines can help you update it and
Yeah.
change it and manage it. Code
Yeah.
continues to be paramount for enterprise applications
Of
and powerful
course.
applications, right? And so
Yeah.
WeWeb being able to use that code and then also offer that visual interface is just a really great moment in time.
Yeah. Very true. And you know what's very interesting? Our philosophy has always been to be as close to how code works, right?
Mhm,
And so even though you use no code, we want to be very close to the standards. And so it's really a philosophy. And even from an educational standpoint, we want to make sure that even when non-coders are learning our platform, they are actually learning the foundation of the web itself, like how
mhm,
it works, etc. We try to use the same terminology and etc. But it's so funny because some of the areas of the product, for some of them, we chose to add some abstraction, right? And which was by design back in the days. But now that AI is in, if we want the AI to work very well with our platform, we are forced to follow this philosophy, right? To really live by this philosophy, but 100%. And
Mm-hmm.
so right now, as we speak, we are also doing some improvements on our platform so
Mm-hmm.
that it's even closer to the code
Code.
standards,
Yeah.
so that the AI knows how to manipulate it better. So the AI is not even a forcing function for us to respect our own philosophy. So it's super
Mm-hmm.
funny. And fortunately for us, it's only for some small parts of the platform, because for most of it, we followed this philosophy.
Yeah.
But for some of them, we took shortcuts, and now we're forced to.
Incorrect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, but again, these are fun technical challenges that the team really loves to do, because this has been the philosophy since the beginning, and now we are forced to finalize it. So it's actually super interesting.
Yeah, it's a really great spot to be in. So with WeWeb being at the middle, offering, I think, the best of both worlds, we've seen the no code side of this. Now, what about the AI coding side of this, the Lovables of the world, the bolts of the world that have really captured a ton of attention and
Yes.
gotten views and traffic that we could have only hoped no code platforms would have gotten in the days,
Yeah.
quite frankly, right?
Yeah.
How is WeWeb thinking about those challenges, competing with those platforms? And maybe even taking a step back, how are those platforms building to compete in this race of
Yeah.
visual AI development?
Yeah. I think it's a great question. It's very interesting what's happening now in this world and the overall industry. We saw them coming, but from far, right?
Yeah.
Cursor and V0,
Mhm.
Lovable and Bolt. And we thought, okay, these platforms are really only for developers, and
Sure.
we are for non-coders, and fine. But what's very interesting is that when we speak to our customers and our users, most of them are like, yeah, for sure. I tried V0, I tried Bolt, I tried Lovable.
Mm.
I'm trying to set up Cursor and run things locally and build with it. So they feel like it's made for them. And I think it's very natural, because they just have to prompt something and they get incredible outputs, right? And it feels like the same as no code, right? It's like
Mhm.
low, not effort, but low learning curve, but incredible output.
And all of a sudden you feel the power of, "Oh, I can create things now."
Build stuff. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And
yeah,
suddenly I don't have any bottlenecks to bring them to life anymore.
exactly.
And they all jumped on it. And
Mm,
that was fascinating for us to see. And we tried it as well, obviously. I think the power of this platform is indisputable, right?
mm,
It's fantastic what they are.
mhm.
But again, many of those users then actually came back to our platforms or stopped using those platforms, because they felt like they could go from 0 to, I don't know how many percent, 70, 80, or
Yeah.
whatever. They could prototype. If we want to bring this to production, we don't feel confident that we can do it, because we don't have the skills to actually run the code ourselves. So what's interesting is that you are seeing the most technical or the most advanced non-coders actually jumping the fence and starting to learn code for real, because they
Mhm.
feel like suddenly, if they do another extra few miles of efforts, they'll be able to use those very powerful platforms. But many non-coders don't feel confident, or don't feel like they want to actually manage the code and manage all of the complexity
And there's
around
so
the code
much
itself.
that they still need to know that they don't know. Things like authentication, things like DDoS attacks or core. You still
Yeah,
need to know how to build an app so you can tell the prompt to do it for you and to know that this is a problem, you
correct.
know?
Yes, exactly. And so then what was interesting for us is to see, and what is still interesting today, is to see where those platforms are going. Bolt and Lovable and V0 and the others.
Yeah.
Even Cursor, we can talk Windsurf. Where are they going? Our feeling, our assumption is that they will continue to cater for developers, especially Cursor, Windsurf. I think the population they target are developers, and it will continue to be as such. However, for Bolt and Lovable, we're not sure 100%. But what we are seeing is that where they found a very strong product market fit is where their users actually initiate a project or a front end or something with their platforms, and then port the code, transport the code to Cursor
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Windsurf or
Yeah.
whatever IDE, and kind of finalize it, right? Yeah,
It's a clear pattern for those that actually need to get a production ready app. They need to do that still in order to get there with a Lovable or the Bolt at these
exactly.
early stages. You got to imagine that eventually it'll be fixed one day or optimized one day. But right now, that's what I think is having to be done.
Yeah, agreed. And even V0, I think like those platforms are really made for developers. They can choose their own stack, and so yeah. And so my feeling is that they will probably continue to dig into that direction, where they have a very strong product market fit, and where they can really help people go to production much faster. I also understood that they, for now, when you use Bolt and Lovable, you just get started from scratch.
Hmm.
And I think they want to create the capability for their customers to actually use their existing code base.
Makes
So
sense.
you could plug Lovable or Bolt to an existing GitHub repository or something
Hmm.
like this, and then like use those platforms and their power to actually do some changes on your existing code base,
Yeah.
and then deploy it somehow, or again, port it to some IDE, finalize it. And I think there's a ton of value to be created in this area. But if you put yourself in the shoes of a non-coder, I think it's not their world, right? They don't want to think too much about GitHub. Like you said, they don't want to have to worry about,
All the
like
things that no code platforms
security,
do automatically for you.
abstract. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And so I really feel like those platforms will probably, that's my bet, not sure 100%, obviously, like the
Hmm.
market will tell, but that they will build houses for technical product teams and tech teams. And I think the WeWeb and Bubble and software, etc., probably will continue to dig into the directions of non-coders
Hmm.
and build homes for them.
Hmm.
And then if you think a bit further, because obviously all of this is dependent on the AI capabilities. And the AI capabilities, as we know it, every 6 months is improving super fast. Like Sam Altman, I think, was
Significant.
saying
Yeah.
the new law, Moore's law for AI is 10x every 6 months, which is insane in terms of progress. And so if it continues to be like this, at some point, the AIs will probably not make too many mistakes anymore. So you could think that, okay, then Lovable and Bolt and the others will be sufficient for non-coders.
Hmm.
But we don't have this feeling at WeWeb, because I still think that from a product standpoint, from a UX standpoint, you don't onboard and handhold non-coders the same
Right.
way as you do with like technical developers, right?
Hmm.
Because you
It's a
don't
different
abstract the same
customer.
things. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And with different levels, different expectations, and most of the time also different use cases. For
Hmm.
example, I don't see a lot of our customers having an existing code base somewhere on GitHub
Hmm.
and wanted to manipulate it. Some of them have it, but it's not the large majority.
Hmm.
And so I do believe that if we take the assumption that at some point AI will be able to build whatever you want, and so that building will be completely abstracted away, then the value, I think, will be in helping anyone to orchestrate those AIs, right? And so building platforms or homes, as we call it here, for them to be able to, achieve whatever they want. And then it's going to be a UX mostly
Yeah.
differentiation, right?
Hmm.
And so that's what we are preparing for. So we
Hmm.
are mostly continuing to the directions of non-coders, which are the majority of our users. I think we
Hmm.
probably have 20% of like real developers and 80% of non-coders.
Hmm.
Most of our non-coders, however, are semi-technical, right? They are
Yeah.
more advanced because WeWeb is more complex to use than other platforms. However, they are still non-coders. And so yes, we are going to go into that direction, and AI will help us. Probably the total addressable market of the no-code industry itself will expand with AI, because suddenly a lot more non-developers will be able to build and will feel like
And
they
are
will
being
be.
aware of these capabilities now.
Yeah, no, exactly. And probably because it's not really ready for them yet.
Mm.
But I think AI will really help them bring their ideas to life for real without having to learn how to code. So they will just focus on where the value is, which is understanding a problem and bringing a solution.
Mm.
And I think this is the core value of any company. And I'm looking forward for this future, hopefully in the short term, because I think many people have a lot of ideas, but they have a big bottleneck, which is, well, I need to learn how to code, or I need to find money to hire developers.
Hmm.
But it's not only hiring developers, right? Then you have to know how to manage developers and know how to manage the product cycle. So it's like super difficult. And then I think our mission should be to help those non-coders who have ideas to help build their products and then manage a whole product cycle, because it's a skill by itself, right? Like taking feedback, implementing changes and fixes, monitoring your production, auditing for security, like you said. There are many areas where someone who doesn't know how to manage a product needs to be taught, and we want to build a product for them, basically. So that's the vision for the future.
Yeah. I think it's nice that we have so many options. I do think that Lovable, compared to the others, it feels like they're creating a no code platform, but in reverse. So they started with just AI code and now they're starting to add more no code like functionalities.
Yeah,
But I
like
think they're also,
Lovable. Yeah,
yeah, and I think they're also learning how hard it is to create all that infrastructure that
of course.
abstraction should just automatically handle scalability, authentication, all this kind of stuff for users at
Yeah.
scale. Much of what no code platforms have been doing for 5 to 10 years already. So
Yeah.
I do think no code platforms have that advantage of they've already taken care of the infrastructure. Now it's okay. Now, how do I build with AI? And
Yeah.
I do think WeWeb is in that position to really excel there because if you told me in a year from now, AI coding platforms, the AI is just perfect, I would still want a visual interface
Yeah.
to then
Me too.
modify and play around with. And that's where I think, all right, a year from now, AI is perfect. Great. WeWeb has a great AI integration. So then if that's perfect, you still have the visual interface. It's the
Yeah.
best of both worlds. So
Yeah.
I do feel like because of the infrastructure decisions you made, you're really well positioned.
Yeah.
I will come back with one thing though is while I do think your infrastructure is the best I think on the market in terms of where we're going, how do you compete from a marketing standpoint with those of the Lovable and everything that have really captured
Oh, yeah.
the mainstream better than any other no code platform in the last 10 years?
Yes, it's a very good question. And that's one question that I think about every day. I think, first of all, before going head to head, because again, I don't think we will, but before accelerating a lot on the marketing side, I would like to stabilize the quality of the AI generation. And it will
Sure.
take like another few months. I suspect that by June this year, it will be stable enough for us to really accelerate from marketing standpoint on this
Mhm.
new positioning. And then I really feel, look, so unless Lovable, Bolt, and the others really decide to go, and so we didn't talk about replace
Like a
Bolt.
billion
The,
users or
the,
something like
the
that?
next billion developers is
Yeah.
our target.
Yes.
And if they go into that direction, then we'll be head to head for
Yeah.
sure. Then it's going to be from marketing standpoint, the differentiator will be you guys are addressing non-coders, but we do have a visual editor. And so it's probably easier for non-coders to use WeWeb than to go and
A
try and
UX
learn
thing, like
code.
you were
And
saying.
I think it's going to be UX thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it's going to be also because Bolt just raised 100 million, I believe. So it's insane. It's a ton of money. So with such money, you can do a lot of things from a
Yeah.
marketing standpoint. Lovable, they just raised 17 million, which is not a lot, but I think it's also
Enough for what
because,
they need at the moment. Oh,
yeah, exactly. Plus, they are also growing their revenue. The AI costs also, although are very expensive, but I know they have good deals because they have a lot of volume. So I
yeah.
assume there's a possibility that they are profitable. And so they can reinvest all of their positive cash flows into marketing, development, etc.
Growth. Yeah.
And that's what we do today, right?
Mhm.
All of the positive cash flows that we have, we just invest them into tech product and growth. And so at some point, there is a possibility that we'll have to raise again if we want to make enough noise from a marketing standpoint. But one thing you probably know already, because I guess that's what also you guys experience at Softer, is a lot of the growth in our platforms is mostly coming from the community. It's because like people, once they like a product, they talk about it.
Mhm.
And so word of mouth is a very strong driver of growth.
Mhm.
And that's also why you see Bolt and Lovable growing so fast, right? It's
Mhm.
because they make a lot of noise because most people are successful with it and just talk about it.
And then they share that. They don't show, like, the production ready version.
No, they
They
shall
just show
put it.
that prototype or, "I was able to do this in 45
Yeah,
minute kinda thing." Very similar to what we saw early days no code, right? It was like the
correct.
same feeling.
You're right.
And so it's a reimagine of that hype cycle just with a different vehicle now.
But multiply by 1,000 because it's so much easier to get started.
And
But
I
yeah,
think just because of AI and how much general AI has become aware to the general public and
yeah,
hit the like, if no code maybe coincided with the AI hype 10 years ago, maybe no code would have been in the same position, but
yeah,
no code never had that coattail to ride on like
yeah.
these AI builders now do.
That is
And
right.
they just caught that cycle on the way up and they've really benefited from it.
Yeah, 100%. But I really feel again, it's all goes back to that learning curve thing
Yeah.
and how much value you can get compared to the investments you put. And when you think about AI, it's a unique time in history where you can have so much value
Hmm.
with not too much of investment on your part, right? As long as you know how to talk and write, basically you can start getting value, right? And then if you can push a bit further and start to learn the web basics and principle foundational principles, then you will get like 10x better super quickly, right? And by the way, maybe this is something we can talk about as well,
Hmm.
the education side of things, because we feel like with the AI at the core of our product, our role for education has changed as well.
Hmm.
because up to now we saw education as we need to train people to use our platform.
The visual side of it.
Yeah, exactly. Really learn how to use the product.
Yeah.
And so it was very specific. Although we were trying to teach also the web principle
Yeah.
on the
Fundamentals.
way, fundamentals, yes, on the way, we were mostly teaching how to use the product itself. But now in the future, if you project yourself again, like 12 months from now, most probably the AI will be able to build most of the things for you. And so if you want to stay in control, then the education, the way we have to structure education is not about learning how to use the product, but really learning how to control what the AI outputs. Right? And it's a different paradigm if you think about it.
Prompting, system thinking, general
Yeah.
stuff like
Yeah.
that.
How the web works
Yeah.
itself, where to look, where you can have failures, for example,
Which is more
security, what to
universal.
ask.
When if a user picks that up somewhere else, they come to you and it's easier kind of thing.
Exactly. And so even I think for a user to learn with us those fundamentals, it's going to be interesting because they can reuse them everywhere and vice versa. They can
Yeah.
learn it somewhere else and then bring that knowledge capability by using WeWeb and get so much more value. So yeah,
I,
it's going to be about teaching how to prompt it, teaching how the web works.
I think we have a generation of folks using ChatGPT to prompt to do anything right now. They haven't gone into app development yet, but with a lot of no code builders and AI builders using that text to build, that prompt to build mechanism, I think it's going to make it much easier for that huge group of non technical folks to start chatting to build apps now in
That's
the
right.
future. And so that's the programming language, is essentially
Yeah.
just communication text at this point.
Yes.
And that's a universal language and these skills that we're all learning to just be able to prompt, which is really exciting for the platforms that understand that this is a new user building for the first time in that text to prompt way. They are automatically building that infrastructure for them under the hood
Yeah.
and not making them like have to understand how that works for them in order
Yeah.
to, yeah. And so that's where the platforms that are built for non-developers will really shine in that
I think so too.
quality.
Yeah.
Whereas the other ones like a Cursor, that's more hands-on, phenomenal platform, but they're not automatically building all that infrastructure for you under the hood in that
For
way.
sure. Yeah, correct. Yes, because if you think about Cursor, it has a lot of value if it works well with your own technical requirements.
Yeah.
Okay, do you use React or Vue or Angular or like all of these
Mhm.
things? But for a non-developer, it doesn't really matter if it's Vue.js or React. Like,
Right.
they don't really care. So we can take these decisions for them.
Mhm.
And so we can then abstract away all of that complexity.
Mhm.
And then maybe if we can go like one step further with regards to how education will be different in this new world is say once building will be completely abstracted away from a product perspective. I don't think it will be all 100% abstracted away, but like most of the heavy lifting and most of the things will be abstracted away. Then what's going to matter is to help our customers actually be good product managers.
Mhm.
Because when you build something, it's not one shot prompted and you have your
Yeah.
app and you're good to go. It's about listening to customers, getting feedback, understanding how to go global, internationalization. There
How
are
to
so many
manage an
things.
app,
Yeah, exactly. Like managing multiple environments and all of these things. I think our role, and I'm looking forward for this future as well, will be to teach how to be a good product manager
Mhm.
using a platform that helps you orchestrate all of the right agents for you to be that very good product manager. Very much like Shopify when
Mhm.
you think about it. So when you look at their overall ecosystem, they teach you how to build with Shopify, but they also teach you how to be a very good merchant online.
Mm.
And I think their mission is so great for this because they teach you how to build. Okay. It's an interesting skill, but the core value for you as a merchant is to learn how to sell online. And so they really teach you how to do this. And I
And
think
they know that if you learn how to sell online, you'll be more successful and be a longer term customer.
100% shared incentives.
Yeah.
And same for our kind of platforms, right?
Mhm.
If our users are successful with their products,
Mhm.
they will build more products or they will stay more using the
Mhm.
platform. And we also know that when you manage a successful product, you always have to iterate on it. You always do like some changes. And the core value of WeWeb is to help you build and maintain and do
Mhm.
those changes as you go and not host a product that is not really alive. And so, yeah, when you're a good product manager, you do tons of changes and then we have shared incentives here because you will continue to use the platform and get a lot of value out of it.
I think actually that is going to mirror a lot of different industries with AI now being able to do the basic, the boring stuff. Where in each industry, we're going to become the manager, the supervisor of them in that way, and just need to have that domain expertise of how to instruct those systems to work for us. But
Yeah.
similar to a sales team, an operations team, an HR team, we're going to have these core skills of being able to build these systems, work with these systems, and supervise these systems, but not
Yes.
really have to go get in there and change that line of code anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So that's actually interesting. Another thing we could talk about that I think is interesting is how the intermediation might change because a lot of our customers are freelancers and agencies, for
Hmm.
example. And so they build for others.
Hmm.
And a lot of them came to us and asked our opinion on, hey guys, will my job be completely automated by a
Interesting.
platform like WeWeb? And I thought it was very interesting as well because I didn't really ask this question to myself.
Yeah.
And so I have an opinion. I can tell
Mm.
for the future, but my opinion is that most probably no,
Mhm.
because again, the job of being, say, building is abstracted away. You still have to be a very good product manager.
And a system thinker.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
so when someone comes to you with an idea or a need, well, you can still be the expert in the room, knowing how to structure this application properly, the users, design it, thinking about the UX and stuff. And all of these things will not be abstracted away by a platform like WeWeb. It's just that the time to market will be much faster and the
Mhm.
time to iteration will be much easier. And that value can still be owned by the agency, right? And so someone with an idea can still come to that agency and the agency will just build faster, ship
Yeah.
faster. And so they will be able to probably manage more customers. That's what I think. So I don't think their job will vanish. I just think that they will spend more time on where the value is, which is, like you said, like system thinking,
Mhm.
talking to customers, understanding the needs. And the building phase will just be faster. And that's it.
Yeah, it's a very easy platform to use, but still a lot of businesses decide to use our expert network, not
Yeah.
because
Not
they
surprised.
can't build with software, but because they're busy doing other things.
Yeah.
And so it's just not an area that they wanna spend their time in, and so they just hire the best person to do it kinda thing.
Yeah, exactly. And for the time that is going to expand, those agencies and freelancers could ask, but then you're saying that you guys will have more customers and these are less customers for us. But I don't think so because I think those new customers that we'll have are customers that today don't even have a budget to
Mhm.
work with an agency. So
Mhm.
these are the people who just have the bottleneck of, I don't know how to build and I
Mhm.
don't have the budget to hire a team to build for me. And
Mhm.
so that's where I think the biggest opportunity lies for platforms like us, like Software and WeWeb and the others.
Mhm.
But I don't think it will be a seismic shift for most of the agencies and freelancers.
What do you think about SaaS? Because I feel like with the ability for more and more to create their own custom tooling, the need for getting that SaaS, like that Salesforce or whatever, or that one
Yeah.
size all fits solution is going to be less and less.
See it internally started even with no code, right? I
Yeah.
don't know if you concur, but a lot of our customers, sometimes their arbitration is between should I use an existing SaaS or should I build my own?
Yeah.
And I think this is just a trend that will continue, but probably accelerate because
Mhm.
now it's going to be faster to build something custom, which is a good news for platforms like WeWeb
And
Software,
small
Global, and the others.
businesses and like that just need custom tooling and to turn to these platforms that are able to create that custom tooling for a small SaaS fee rather than that whole gigantic thing.
Another way I'm thinking about this problem is maybe there's a chance that existing incumbents with off the shelves SaaS
Yeah.
will probably enable the customization of their platforms for their customers. There's a high chance that they will incorporate AI so that their users can customize their SaaS to their needs, right? They'll provide the boilerplate and then
Hmm.
most probably a lot more customization capabilities through AI. That's probably one of the possible outcomes.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that happening for sure. I think you guys are onto something really special here. I think the combination of the AI coding plus the visual development is really special. Still,
Yeah.
the ability to export that code and self-host is really special.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to be working towards a full stack environment so it's easier to
That's a good question.
implement AI at a full stack level in there?
Yeah. You know, when we got started, the, the foundation of WeWeb was to be a decoupled platform. And so I think we'll continue to be a decoupled platform. For us, it's very important that our customers can choose whatever DB for
Sure.
themselves. However, thinking about this expanding TAM and giving the access to the web for less technical people, I think it might be for them a bit daunting to having to make that decision. What backend should I choose?
And to set it up.
Yeah, exactly. So you'll be able to start with the backend of your choice, or just get started with kind of a full stack integration boilerplate that
Yeah.
will be set up for you. We started with Supabase because they had everything ready.
Mhm.
All the API was ready for this. And we added a bit more interfaces in WeWeb so that our customers can manage their Supabase directly from WeWeb through
Nice.
the AI or directly from WeWeb. A little bit like Flutterflow did with Firebase. I think they
Mhm.
did that very well. You can manage your tables. You can manage lots of the roles and permissions directly from Flutterflow. And so we're doing the same with WeWeb. So you can manage your edge functions, which are basically the backend logic directly from WeWeb. So this can be created with the WeWeb AI and deployed automatically on Supabase. And so for now, it's still fairly technical, right? You have to
Mhm.
understand what's happening, but it's a first iteration. And I think we'll continue abstracting this complexity away so that anyone can get started really quickly without having to even think about, oh my God, what backend should I choose? And for now, we started with Supabase as the kind of preferred integration because they were the only one really ready. But
Mhm.
I know Zano is working very well also on making it AI ready or AI builder ready.
Mhm.
So when they will have made it ready, we'll obviously do the integration straight away.
Mhm.
And then we'll see what's best for the users.
Sure. For those that want to get started with WeWeb and or your new AI builder, where do they go?
Yeah, so they just have to go on weweb.io, so web.io, and they can just click on get started and they can sign up and give it a try for free. And so we give I think 1 million token for free. So they can use the AI about for 10 prompts, something like this,
Mhm.
and see where this gets them
That
lands
might
and
even
continue
get
to
them to
build.
a full app.
Yeah, hopefully at some point, yes.
Yeah.
If it's a simple application, yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Incredible. Raphael, thank you so much for your time today. Keep up the great work. Let us know how we can help. And thanks again for joining us on
Thanks
This
so
Week
much.
in
It was great seeing you.
So it was great to have Raphael on the podcast. Just a tremendous CEO and person. Always love chatting with them. It's great to see their recent growth as well with the launch of their AI driven product. You're able to build with AI at the text to prompt app level. So you can create a whole app with it, and then you can modify that app, still text to prompt to create those components, and then still use a visual interface to change everything. So it's a really great platform for that high end product need where you have the time and the resources to build a really exceptional product at that pixel perfect level, still maintain access to the code, still be able to self-host it, but get that performance you need at enterprise scale. Really love WeWeb and what they're building. Otherwise, thanks for joining in on This Week in No Code Plus AI, and I hope to see you next week. See you guys.